Hey guys, welcome back to some more reviews, and today doing a review on Sinister from 2012. But before I actually get into the review for that, which I have the Blu-ray, it was in a 3-pack. It was a cheap Blu-ray pack. It was like $8, and came with 3 movies, 2 which I like, 1 I haven't seen yet. That's The Possession, but I'll definitely give it a watch one day. I also have Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope in there. Great pictures of this movie. I gotta review Star Wars movies one day. But the reason I have it in there is because when I bought it, it didn't come with a DVD case or a Blu-ray case. But still, got the movie. Just put it in here with the rest of these Blu-rays. And I think it actually deserves the fact that it has a Blu-ray. Because I'm a really big fan of this movie. I think it's really good. Trying to get this Blu-ray out of here. There we go. Sinister. Not really much to design for the Blu-ray, but still, at least it's not that just gray disc with just like regular writing on it. It's got actual it's just like a blue disc. But talking about Sinister, but before I get to the movie Sinister, I want to talk about sort of a little, I guess you could say, a DVD update. But there's only one movie I got, and that is Wrong Turn 6. Last Resort. Picked it up at Walmart for $5. Good price. Figure pick it up. Have not watched it yet. And finally a disc with some disc art. Finally. But I haven't seen it yet. Definitely want to check it out. Not really sure when. Maybe tomorrow or something like that. I'll watch it. I'm not gonna review the Wrong Turn franchise until later. Like later. But not soon. I'm talking like months from now, maybe review Wrong Turn, maybe. Because I'm gonna do some reviews on these newer movies I've seen, and some movies I've been wanting to review. And then I plan on reviewing the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which will be happening soon. I know it's like every week while you're reviewing just these one movies, you should be reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm getting to that. I'm just reviewing these movies. They're leading up to the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise franchise reviews, which will be coming up soon. Probably in a few weeks. Maybe next week is when I'll start doing Nightmare on Elm Street. Maybe. But yeah, I figure I just tell you guys I got Wrong Turn 6, Last Resort, unrated. Looks pretty, honestly, from the commercials. I know I just showed it again, but whatever. From the commercials, it kind of looks a little crappy, because you got a bad CGI effect of an arrow going through a guy's face. So, I mean, it may be fun, but I certainly hope it's not going to go the Wrong Turn 3 route with just some crappy CGI in there, because that shot was terrible. The freaking arrow in the face, it was in CGI. I was like, oh god. No, not CGI, man. Looks terrible. But I'll definitely give it a watch one day and do reviews in the Wrong Turn franchise one day. But today I'm talking about Sinister. And this is a movie I'm a really big fan of. I love this movie. It's definitely one of the better movies of today's horror movies. Came out in 2012 with 6.8 IMDb. Which is bullcrap. This movie's freaking lower rated than freaking The Conjuring. Which, yes, I do enjoy this movie more than The Conjuring. I'm sorry. I know everybody loves The Conjuring. It's so great and perfect. I watched it. Honestly, I've said it before. That's why I'm kind of like, now I'm like, I don't know if I should say that again, because I've already covered that. Not in a review, but I've said in multiple videos of why I don't like The Conjuring. But the bottom line is, it was cliche, and honestly, I didn't see anything different from it. So, not a fan of The Conjuring. I think it's bullcrap how this movie is lower rated than that. This movie had a lot more to it than The Conjuring. And yeah, just personally, my opinion, I don't like The Conjuring. If you do, that's awesome. Just don't be a jerk about it, please. Just be cool about it. I just don't like The Conjuring. So, my opinion. So, yeah. Sinister, I'm a really big fan of it. It has a lot going for it. Now, is there some problems to it? Yes. There are a few cliche things in the movie, especially when it comes to jump scares. I mean, the jump scares in this movie, granted, they're scary. At least not like the gallows, where the gallows you didn't even jump. But here they're actually scary. But I don't know. I mean, jump scares tend to be used a lot in today's horror movies, and it's used a lot in this movie. So that was one of the problems, definitely, is the jump scares. Also, some really bad CGI enhancements in one scene where it's showing the kids, but like it's CGI enhancements, and it's really bad CGI. And the CGI that is there is pretty bad, but there's not a lot of it. It's mostly practical. But this movie was actually creepy. I actually watched it, and I thought it was actually creepy. Um, and besides some bad CGI enhancements, um, and the fact that there's a lot of jump scares in it, and sometimes it can get pretty cliche, it also brought some new stuff to the table. And the reason I didn't see this movie back in theaters was because at the time there were a lot of these sort of crappy horror movies getting released, and this movie's trailer came out, and when you watch the trailer, it seems like a typical, release today horror movie that isn't really that amazing. At least the trailer it seemed like one of your typical horror movies that are released today. But I swear, when you watch the movie, it's so much more different. This movie is different than other movies that come out, like other horror movies that come out today. It is one of the better ones, and it's because of how intense it is. It actually is suspenseful. It's actually got some really cool ideas, really disturbing ideas, and just the general plot of the movie is really disturbing. And it sucks. The sequel did the complete opposite theme. It went the cliche route. It went the route that this movie tried to avoid. This movie tried to be a different route, tried to be more of a, serious, suspenseful, and grueling and terrifying horror film. And it is. It is definitely a creepy idea, and makeup effects are done well. The scenes that involve the, Super 8 home movies, those scenes where it involves that, really well done. The music is really unsettling, in my opinion at least, because I know that some people didn't like the score, but personally I thought the movie had a really unsettling score, like especially in the barbecue scene, really unsettling, and also end credits scene. That piece of music is definitely the creepiest piece of music in the entire movie. Is the end credits theme song that. It just keeps playing, but it has more enhancements to it and stuff like that, and it adds stuff to it. Really, really creepy sound effect with a Super 8 film sound into it. Really, really creepy score, and it had a lot going for it. This movie, in my opinion, it did. It had suspense. It had creepy, ideas. It felt like it was separate from other horror films out there, and it is. And it was just well made. It was well shot. You got some great acting in there. You got Ethan Hawke. You got a great cast. You got Ethan Hawke. Julian Rylance plays Tracy. Then you got Fred Dalton Thompson plays the sheriff. James Ronson plays the deputy. And you've also got the kids played by Michael Hall D'Arturo, Claire Foley. Wait, Michael Hall D'Arturo and Claire Foley. That's just pretty much the kids. And the idea is basically you got Ethan Hawke, who released a crime book back in the day, and it became a big hit, and you thought that it was his 15 Minutes of Fame, basically. And now he's trying to write a new book. So he starts to study because he investigates crimes to write books and stuff like that. And he stumbles across this crime involving this family getting killed at this house he's staying at. And he moves in there with his family, and I will say that is a really stupid idea of why would you move your family in this house that's obviously where people died at and stuff like that. It was I'll admit that was a stupid idea. But you got him moving his family in there, and he's pretty much studying the crimes that are going on there. And then one day he goes he basically goes up in the attic, and he finds a box of these Super 8 movies. And each Super 8 movie has sort of this really disturbing murder on them, each one of them. and they're all shot like extremely realistically. Like they really seem like real Super 8 films. When you're watching these films, they're just so intense. Like these are just some of the most intense moments in horror movies, in my opinion, because they seem so real, and it leaves such an impact because it just feels like a real. You feel like you're really watching Super 8 movies, and it's really disturbing when they play. And he watches them, and his family starts acting like, because his son starts acting weird, and he's at night he'll be acting like he'll be in a box and go like, "Ah!" And his daughter starts to draw drawings on the walls of like of hanging people and stuff like that. And then basically Ethan Hawke is studying these Super 8 films pretty much throughout the entire movie, and just one by one, these Super 8 movies are really creepy. And also, in between that, you've also got this character, I believe it was, trying to see if I can, yeah, Bughuul, or Mr. Boogie, played by Nicolas King. And cool character, the mouth isn't there. Sort of has a, like, you imagine the puppet from Saw. It kind of has that look, only, and also kind of remind me of Slender Man a little bit. Those of you that know creepypastas, you guys know what I'm talking about. But kind of reminded me of Slender Man a little bit. Just the way that it looked, and it had no mouth. Of course, Slender Man has no face, so it's like, but kind of reminded me of the puppet from Saw as well. And really creepy look, or I believe he has a mouth, I can't remember. But it was a really creepy look, and he pretty much pops up the entire movie. And there's one scene where there's like a pool, and he looks to the pool, to the camera, and boom, it jump scares. Some of the jump scares are done well. Like I forgot to mention that. Like there are a lot of jump scares, but some of them are done well, and some of them aren't done well. Like the one where Ethan Hawke put up a picture, and he drops the photo, and boom's right there. That was kind of a crappy jump scare. Or there's a few scenes that have some crappy jump scares. Or when the kid pops up with a jump scare in CGI, I'm like, no, it's not scary, bro. But the jump scare, like, the freaking jump scare that gets me every time. Every freaking time. I watched the movie like 5 times now. 5 or 4 times. Like, 4 or 5 times. And this one jump scare gets me every time. Every time, because it's so intense and suspenseful. Because Ethan Hawke watches this one film, and pretty much you see his family in the house, and they're all watching movies and stuff like that. They're just having fun. And boom, it cuts, and really, really dark and eerie music is playing. And it's pretty much the camera like positioned right in front of the freaking lawnmower. And you're wondering, you're like, what's going on here? What's going to happen? And boom, like one of the family members' heads pop out of nowhere, and it runs over their head. And it's like, ah, and it happens so fast, you don't have time to get prepared for it. You're just like, okay, the jump scare is coming. I know it. And then like the music sucks you in. You're just like, oh crap! Like I fall for it every time, man. One of the scariest jump scares ever, in my opinion, is the lawnmower scene from Sinister, the lawnmower film. It gets me every time, man. It's definitely a successful jump scare. And you've also got this one where people are tied to these sunbathing chairs, or just chairs, and they're tied to them by the pool, and they get pulled into the pool and drown. There's this one where this person walking with a knife and starts slitting the people's throats in their sleep. There's one at the beginning of the movie which was really creepy, where the family's got like nooses around their neck, and you see like a freaking saw over here. And when you open a movie up with that was creepy. I have to admit that was creepy, because when I went into this movie, I was expecting maybe, like going into this movie, I was like, okay, this is maybe going to be your typical horror movie with jump scares and cliches. No, when you open up the freaking movie with like people in nooses, and it's a shot like a realistic Super 8 film, and you open up with that and some really creepy music playing in the background, it creeps you out. Like I was like, oh crap, I didn't expect that. That was really creepy. You just see like a saw going back and forth, and then the branch falls, and these people get hung. And like I was just like, at all, because I didn't expect that. I didn't expect it from the first shot of the movie being the freaking people getting hung like that. Like, it was like, holy crap. That was freaking shocking. And, of course, Ethan Hawke is finding out this character Bagul, or Mr. Boogie, is pretty much haunting his family, and he burns the Super 8 films, moves back into his older house, and you find out that it's too late. His daughter is pretty much under control by Bagul, and she ties up the entire family, records it. Really disturbing scene where she gets an axe, and you don't see it, but you see this scene afterwards where she's walking through this hall, and there's blood through the entire hall, and she's pretty much walking towards Bagul, and I think a jump scare happens. So, once again, a jump scare at the end of the movie that was not needed. At least, I think there's a jump scare at the end of the movie. I think so. Maybe wrong about that, but I think there's a jump scare. And I was like, okay, really? End of the movie jump scare? That's a cheap jump scare. I hate that, where they'll do like the last shot of the movie, jump scare. I hate that. But, yeah, I mean, just, you don't see them getting chopped up, but it was just done to where you see blood everywhere. It was done in such a suspenseful way. And pretty much the girl goes to Mr. Boogie, and the movie ends. You know, they walk off and the movie ends. And the movie is just, it's a movie that was not expected. At least to me, I didn't expect it to be this intense. I didn't expect it to be this suspenseful. But it was. And it was entertaining in the pace. It's an hour and 15 minutes long, but an hour and 15 minutes long, not 15. Hour and 50 minutes long. But the pace didn't bother me. It still was at a good pace in my opinion. Didn't get boring or slow in my opinion. And it was just a very, very well made movie. And I was very surprised by it. And if you haven't seen Sinister yet, see Sinister. I mean, I'm saying that. Don't see Sinister 2, even though I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard a lot of bad things about it. But don't watch Sinister 2, watch Sinister 1. Because from what I've heard, this is the better horror movie. But yeah, don't watch Sinister 2. I might watch it and get it just for the collection, but, you know, not on Blu-ray. I'm just going to get it on DVD, and that's it. But, yeah, I mean, I might review Sinister down, you know, later on, you know, down the road somewhere. Might review Sinister 2, but for right now, I'm just reviewing Sinister. And if you haven't seen Sinister yet, check this movie out. It's really good. So, guys, thanks for watching my review on Sinister. And I'll see you guys in the next review. Bye, guys.